So Valve has once again made headlines from a crazy hardware idea. But I think this one has a chance. What's good, you misfits? I am Ren, welcome back to the channel, and hey, if it's your first time here, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the bell so you can get more of this lovely face in your timeline, or feed, or whatever YouTube calls it now, but definitely not the sub box, because that would imply that it works. Now, about a week or so ago, Valve announced their new product, the Steam Deck. It's a portable PC handheld running SteamOS 3.0, which, if you aren't aware, is Valve's Linux distro that they used for the Steam machine. And while previous versions of SteamOS were based on Debian and Ubuntu distributions, the new version is based on Arch Linux, and it's completely redesigned from the ground up. It's been made to be tightly integrated with Steam and Valve's Windows compatibility layer Proton, and Valve is even going so far as to claim that anti-cheat games will work on the device ideally by the time it launches, which is a crazy statement that I hope is true. Now, why are we talking about this? This isn't VTuber related. Well, that's because I wanted to. I think it's a cool piece of tech, and this channel is also about Linux, so I'd say it's appropriate enough. Now, what I do want to find out is if you can run a VTuber off of the Stream Deck. Or not the Stream Deck, the Steam Deck. This is a problem I'm going to have constantly. But anyway, if you want to see me try to see if I can make that happen, check me out over on Twitch, where you can donate bits and subs to give me a little bit of income to save up for one of these so I can try it out, as well as get some VR gear so I can get some cool VR content I've been thinking of. So if you're interested in seeing that sort of stuff, I snap, but you can't see my fingers snap, so... But if you're interested in helping me save up some money to get these cool little devices so I can make really cool content for you guys, then check me out over on Twitch. And also you can check me out on Patreon. I have a Patreon now. It's extremely bare bones, at the moment at least, but hopefully by the end of next month or so, I will have enough of a backlog to start being able to post videos a week early over there. I've got like 4 tiers with a bunch of stuff. I actually need to trim that down. I think I'm just going to have like 2 or 3 tiers of 5, 10, to 15. I don't think I'm gonna bother with anything over that. So I'm gonna rework those, and yeah, end of next month will be like the proper launch of Patreon. So look out for that if you want to support me over there. Back to the device. All the different versions have the same specs, save for the memory, the amount of storage they have, and the highest tier model having an anti-glare screen. Weird thing to say for the top of the line model, but sure, whatever. I'll have a link down below in the description for the full spec sheet for all of the different models if you want to look through it yourself. The main thing I want to talk about is the memory. The memory is different depending on which model you get. The middle and high tier versions have NVMe SSDs at like 218 gigabytes and 512 gigabytes, I want to say. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's what it is. But the lowest tier one has 64 gigabytes of eMMC memory. That's one of the little soldered on types of flash memory. And it's also one of these slower types. The SSD versions you could, in theory, upgrade later. Now, how easy or hard that process is remains to be seen because no one has it. But the base model has a lot of people concerned, like for example, Rich from Review Tech USA. Also, Rich, if you're somehow watching this video, hi, I really like your channel. However, Valve has since made some statements that has put some people at ease over this. The Steam Deck is able to use a micro SD card on all the models to expand their storage, which is really cool, except that it's a PC and SDs aren't very fast. Well, it turns out that the model that IGN played for their first impressions review thing, all the games were running off an SD card. So that means Valve didn't give them some ideal situation with an NVMe SSD that had all the games loaded on it, and they just didn't even just act like the SD card wasn't there. They showed what would be a real world application, which would be running the games off the SSD, because you can get really big SSDs for relatively cheap. Now, I mean, if you get like, what's that one Samsung makes? It's like 1.5 terabytes or something like that, and it's like $4,000. Maybe don't get that one, but I think that's cool. It shows that they are aware of the real world situations people will be using this in. Now, for the main point of this, the OS, in the past, Valve tried and failed to make Steam a home console using Linux. The issue was no one wanted to make Linux games, so the library sucked. And the Steam machines themselves were kind of expensive. With the Steam Deck, though, Valve is using a completely different approach. Rather than having the game devs make a Linux version of their Windows games, Valve is just making a way for Windows games to work on Linux just out of the box. And that's the reason why we've had Proton the past few years. We've been essentially helping Valve create the best Windows compatibility layer for gaming. And I think they might have succeeded, or at least mostly. If Valve is really able to get games with easy anti-cheat and BattlEye working on SteamOS, then it will probably end up making a bigger splash in the PC gaming world than anyone was expecting. I could very easily see like budget PC builds all going to using Linux instead of Windows just to save the $100 to $200 Windows licensing fee. If anti-cheats are no longer an issue, then why would you not? You have a free OS that can play the same games as this $200 one. You're trying to save money on a budget build. Why are you not going with the free option? Hell, maybe even some high-end PCs will come with a Linux option. I don't think Windows will replace for the high ends. And then there's also people who build their own PCs. I think most of them are going to stick to Windows unless they're really into the software side and like fiddling around with stuff and they want that extra level of control. Otherwise, I think they'll probably just stick with Windows, though Windows 11 may change that. We'll have to see how that goes. But for those people, Linux would no longer be a joke OS for a gaming. It would just be the option they're not interested in. People who start on Linux would probably stay on Linux, and I think more people would end up starting on Linux, which would be super cool. Now, sure, it's not more native ports for Linux, which would be great, but at least for me, Proton's good enough. If it lets me play the games on Linux, I'll take it. But that is where I'm going to end this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hit that like button along with the subscribe button. Really helps the channel out. Make sure you head over to my Twitch if you want to see what streaming is like on Linux. Spoilers, if I didn't say it was on Linux, you would not be able to tell. But that's all I've got for you today, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace.